Welcome to the Hollywood Outsider, an award-winning weekly entertainment podcast. In this episode, we are reviewing I Used to Go Here in Umbrella Academy Season 2, taking a look at the magical deal between AMC Theaters and Universal Studios. Mulan is going to Disney Plus early. We'll talk about that. And our topic this week are summer camps in movies. Let's get on with the show. My name is Aaron Peterson. Joining me today are my fellow host, John Davenport.
Hey, Aaron. How you doing today?
Wonderful. Amanda Sink.
Hello, hello.
Hey, we've got a whole lot of stuff to talk about and some things to get to. But before we do that, I want to knock this out real quick. Thank you to everybody who voted for us in this year's podcast awards. I'll let you know when the nominations are out and what happens. But thank you guys for doing what you did to help us.
We're winners in your hearts.
If you voted. If you didn't, you don't like us
then
at all.
Then I guess, yeah, we're not in your heart or your mind.
Kind of an asshole thing to do, really, when you think about it. Was it too far? Calling them assholes? I don't know. I don't know what the line is.
I think we went well beyond the point in which we were being thankful for them. Now we're just shaming them. And
God, the voting is over. Okay, so the announcement. I want to mention this announcement, and it's important. We had an internal discussion because we've kept this baby going, even though there hasn't been hardly anything coming out. We've kept going and tried to be as entertaining as we could for, the last few months. The last few months have been stressful on everyone. I know everybody's got things going on, but also people aren't listening as much, which means they're still catching up. I'm still getting my emails and stuff from people that are catching up to old episodes. So this will give you a chance to catch up because we are going to take every other week off just through Labor Day here in the States.
I was going to say, don't scare them. Give them the rest of it.
Yeah, I'm sure they're petrified, Amanda. They're probably like, yes, thank God. I'm so sick.
All three of them that are left going, no, what about me?
No, thank you for everybody that's still listening. Seriously, we really appreciate it. We just need a little bit of a break. Normally, we take a few weeks off in a row. We just figured this way we could space it out while we're waiting for theaters to return to the U.S. because they're opening everywhere else. It's us that is screwing everything up.
We're the problem.
Yeah. I just had this conversation, by the way, with somebody who said, maybe COVID is overblown. I'm like, well, every other country said we can't come in. I think we're probably the problem. It's kind of like, what is the old Raylan Givens thing? If you run into an asshole in the morning, you ran into an asshole. If you run into assholes all day, you're the asshole.
Right.
And America is that asshole.
We are.
So
we are Boyd Crowder right now. Boyd Crowder, USA. Woo!
Keyword of this episode, assholes.
Sorry.
Are we going to start doing the Pee Wee Herman thing every time we say asshole? Yay!
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
I don't remember
It is for John. Maybe only John.
All right. Well, we'll have to edit the hell out of this opening. You know what? So that's what we're going to do. So just to give ourselves a little break, we'll definitely return whenever Tenet opens, and we'll be back every other week. There's also, I know we've got some reviews that we have to get out from screeners. So there might be like a mini-sode. There's an interview, I think, coming. So you might not even notice we're gone. But that's what the regular episodes will be taking a week for the next few weeks. So I think you'll
basically be down a teachable moment or teachable minute.
2 or 3. You'll be down 2 or 3. 2 or 3 of those. So which means those life lessons you'll be missing. And I've got an important one today.
So don't screw everything up in the meantime.
Very important.
I actually got nervous there for a second because I didn't scroll all the way down to the Teachable Minute. And I didn't know who was doing the Teachable Minute. And I went, you know what? This probably means it's me.
You know what's great is there's probably several people listening don't even know what it is because they never make it to the end of a podcast. Like, what is the HO Teachable Minute?
Well, then maybe we shouldn't go so long.
Man, don't make this about you.
Let's just get there now and shut it down.
All right. So you know what? Here's huge news. Now we're going to talk about the AMC Theaters and Universal deal. And you're probably like, why would you wait like 6 or 7 days before you would talk about it? Well, I'll tell you why. Because we wanted to make sure nobody else was jumping on the bandwagon. We knew all the details, theaters. We knew who was in, who was out. And now we know all that stuff. But before we get there, and even, I don't know if it's a bigger announcement, but a pretty freaking big one. Mulan is coming to Disney Plus and a few theaters around the world internationally because they're open. Again, assholes.
Hey!
Perfect. September 4th. But this is a very important but. Even though it's going to come to Disney Plus, which you pay for subscription wise, they apparently are going to work it like an add-on on a video game or something. And it's going to be a $30 extra payment. $29.99. Sorry, that extra penny. It's not $30. $29.99. September 4th.
Don't they usually add tax to that stuff too? So it'll be over $30.
No.
Yeah, plus Mickey wants his cut. But no, I don't think digital, it really depends on your state, doesn't it?
No, I don't find the digital charges any extra for tax unless it's an actual item you're purchasing.
This is not an actual item.
It's a digital item.
A takeaway item. Like this is
Tangible.
just a quick, tangible item. This is just a service you're paying for additionally, and so because it can be seen as a service as opposed to a tangible item,
Gotcha.
Then you don't have to pay tax on it.
Maybe that's the difference between renting it and owning it.
Yeah. No, but there's two sides of that coin, right? There are people that love their home theater experience and like, I don't have to deal with cell phones and blah, 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 which is great. Good for you. And also families, we can all pull our money together. 12 of us get in a house. We're watching Mulan together. Hopefully you can get everybody together
I
in a
was going to say
COVID-free.
that's like the opposite of what you're supposed to do right now.
Well, again, John.
Hey!
But on the same token, this is a movie that was definitely shot for theaters, and for whatever reason, Disney decided to cut its losses, probably because they took a 40% hit on their revenues with theme parks and theaters. They needed to start bringing some cash flow in.
It's also really important to note that they have disclosed this as a one-time situation.
Mm-hmm.
This is not going to be the AMC Universal debacle all over again. Like that's not happening. This is different. They have determined that this is just for this movie.
Right.
But we'll get into AMC, I guess, later.
Well, it's one time right now.
Don't say it was about trolls. It wasn't about trolls that AMC and Universal were fighting about. It was about that Universal said, going forward, we're going to do day and date maybe. That's what they were mad about, not because of Trolls 2. That's why they're also not mad about Disney doing this. Okay, I've said that. Let's go. John, what were you saying?
I forgot already.
God damn it. I got to stop talking. No, seriously, I'm going to stop talking. Just go ahead. Fill in the hole.
Oh, all right. Hi, Amanda. How you doing?
I'm doing well. But back to the conversation at hand. I want to at least share how I feel about it, because there are two sides of the coin, and everybody's going to land on it how they see fit. I'm not a big fan of this move. I'm not big on the price point, but even that is not an issue if it were to own. And we haven't seen a lot of clarification on that, if it's rental or to own. But I'm not in favor of that. And even so, I would rather it be like, and I get why they did not do this, because they have their own streaming platform. But I was really hoping they would do like a wide VOD release instead of just trying to use that as a huge funding opportunity to try to gain more subscribers in the middle of a pandemic. I thought that was kind of, I don't like that. Didn't rub off well on me.
Woo, gross.
Right?
Just picturing that mouse rubbing against your leg.
Oh, ew.
So this whole thing kind of
God.
messes with me a little bit, just because of the idea of I've never seen a thing where when the VOD releases early where you can actually buy it right there and then, unless it's like we're selling it right away on VOD. The VOD is usually a rental. In most cases, just like the AMC deal is strictly a rental thing. You can't, like, when you do the $20 for the Universal movies, it's going to be a rental fee. You're not actually buying the movie right there and then. So I can't see Disney
Sure, but you also get to choose your provider. But go on.
I think you're missing the point. Who gives a shit about the provider? It's just like you're still not buying the movie right there. You just
don't own it. Yeah.
You're like, here's $20. I get to sit down for however long, like for a 24-hour window and watch this all I want for 24 hours. And that's $20. I can't imagine Disney doing anything different. And if they're going to do it this way, they might actually end up making more money, because you'll have the little girls wanting, let's see Mulan. Well, we just paid $30 for you to see it. I want Mulan. Okay, you little monster, you're gonna get Mulan. Just shut up and don't talk to me that way.
I don't think they'll make more money because they're banking on having new subscribers plus the $30 to be able to recoup all of the money that they put into this film.
Right.
And they already have, I wouldn't say a large bucket of subscribers compared to other streaming services, but they have a decent one.
60 million is what they have right now.
They have a pretty big bucket. Not to mention, people are going to share their account. So they're not going to make as much, I think, as it would take to recoup and gain profit off of this. Mm-hmm. But in their perspective, it's probably like, this is a better opportunity for us to share the film than to continue delaying it and then maybe not even release it until potentially next year or something. Because America is halting the progress on the movie theater industry.
Assholes.
Just to remind everyone.
All right. Funny 3 times. More than that. You know what?
You purposely set me up for it.
I did. I will
it is your fault.
say that I do want to know. I just want to know. Is it going to be tied to your Disney Plus account? Because Disney owns Movies Anywhere, and it's not going to be accessible through Movies Anywhere, which means to me, this is going to be a rental. Now, maybe it'll stay in your Disney Plus account. That wouldn't be so bad because the parents will watch it a bazillion times. Or it's going to be like John said, and Little Monsters are going to make you re-rent it. But they have to sell 17 million, or they have to rent, whatever it is, 17 million digital copies to break even. Because the movie costs $200 million, they got to make at least 500 million. So at least, minimum, 17 million digital copies at $30 a pop to do that. And once Torrent gets it, well, good luck.
Well, you also got to remember it's being released in theaters everywhere else, or some other countries.
True.
So.
True.
There's money to be made there, so
it's interesting.
It's not just the money they're going to make out of Disney Plus. It is going to be released. It's a little unfair to kind of point out what they're going to make, but if you look at the game of percentages, if only 10% of the subscribers for Disney Plus pay for it, it's 180 million right there, plus whatever they make worldwide.
They need more than that, though. They need more than that. They need quite a bit more than that in order to make their money back, which is probably the problem. I mean, they're going to sell, I think, to 28, 29% of their subscribers have to want Mulan at $30 to break even. But they might sell some more.
And what I've seen is that I'm not seeing those numbers.
Well, yeah, people say that now, but you know what they're going to do? Like we were already talking about. They're going to hand out passwords and everybody's going to be logging into everybody's account because I think...
Yay, identity fraud.
It's not identity fraud if you give it to them.
No, I know. I'm just saying that the opportunity for hackers to get it is
definitely going to be sharing
increased.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of hackers paying attention to those Facebook messages. Like, just password. Thank you.
So, let me see. Where else you use this password at with this email address? Oh, everywhere. Thanks, dummy.
Okay. All right. So let's move into the big fish in the room. Or is it elephant? I don't know.
It's definitely an elephant.
You know what? I like fish. I'm going with fish. We've had time to digest, so we're going to dig into this deal between AMC Theaters, the world's #1 theatrical distributor, and Universal Studios. So first, here's what they negotiated. I want to clarify this because everywhere I look, everybody is like reading apparently headlines or the article, but not really reading the full article. I don't know. Everybody's got a different understanding of what this is. So I went through, got clarification. Here's the deal, the actual deal. Universal and Focus Features releases will play at AMC Theaters for a 17-day exclusive theatrical window. Typically, that's a 90-day window. That's how big a difference this is. That's why people said it's a monumental deal. After that time, Universal has the option to make these titles available on premium video on-demand platforms, including AMC Theaters on Demand. Now, keep in mind, that decision is going to be made before the movie hits because they have to market this. And marketing, you can't change on the fly. So they're not going to just pull, oh, the movie flopped. We're going to definitely throw it on PVOD ASAP. The plan will be there. They've already said this. The plan will have to be in place before they do that on these releases. And that doesn't mean all films will run that way either. And Fast and the Furious and Jurassic Park movies, they play for a month or two well before their box office starts to fade, so they're not going to utilize those options during that. Now, here's the win-win for both to kind of explain it to everybody. Universal gets to put their movie in people's homes much quicker than the normal 90-day window. So 17 days is equal to roughly 3 weekends, because if they open on a Friday, it's 3 weekends that AMC gets that theatrical business. Universal normally would have to wait 3 months from the opening date before they could start making money on home video. So all the marketing they already did, they have to redo when the movie goes to home video. Now they wouldn't have to do that. They just advertise 2 different dates, kind of like they do with on-demand and DVD release dates or Blu-ray release dates. Okay. AMC Theaters also wins because Universal, and this is we've been talking about this on the show forever. There's no way a deal gets made unless AMC Theaters gets a win out of it, and this is their win. They get a cut from Universal of that premium video on demand revenue, north of 20% of PVOD for a title, with a further 2% theatrical rental on the chain side. So they get 2% more in the theater, and they get 20% of that video on demand fee that gets charged, that $20 rental or whatever it is. They get 20% of that. And keep in mind, AMC Theaters has nothing to do with production or anything else. That's basically just free money to them. That's an important fact. Okay, who doesn't win? I just want to cover all this. Who doesn't win? Everyone else. Because Cineworld, the world's number 2 distributor, says, we do not see any business sense in this model, and also we will not show any film that does not respect the current 90-day window. Independent theaters also cannot compete with this window if other studios do get on board, which they haven't yet. Which is an important fact that no other studio has come forward to make this deal. Meaning for all of this talk about how this revolutionized theaters, which is what every article wants to say because that's what people want, it really doesn't do much unless everybody else gets on board. Disney's doesn't want to give up 20%. A lot of other studios don't want to give up that 20%. That's a big chunk of coin. Okay, so I talked ad nauseum because I wanted to explain winners, losers, and what it all meant. You two, good deal, bad deal? What do you think?
For AMC, I think this is a killer deal. For us, it's an interesting deal because at the very least, it's something where we're going to probably get a chance to see a industry evolve into something completely different. And I'm kind of for that just for the sake of giving everyone an ability to grow, because the way I see it is right now we have a whole lot of companies who are so dependent on another company who's technically not allowed to do anything right now because we're on shutdown, that these other companies who are movie production companies are kind of have product dying on the vine because they can't do anything with it until we can start showing movies. So doesn't that mean there's time for that to grow is what I'm more interested in.
I'm in favor of this personally because it benefits me. No matter what I decide, if it's a movie that I would rather just sit at home and watch, which is not usually the case, but I have that option a lot sooner. If I want to go see this movie in theaters at AMC, which is my primary theater chain, then I will be able to see it in theaters, no problem. The people who lose are still important, though. You know, those people that live in more rural areas where they don't have an AMC and they have independent theaters, those theater chains are not going to be able to get the film because they're going to be delayed and waiting for the 90-day window because they're not going to play that film. So then the people that are in those rural areas, they're not going to be able to have access to it if they don't have an AMC near them. And those theater chains are also going to be hurt by it. And that kind of makes me sad. I feel bad for the independent theater chains, but I also feel like this is a good compromise between the two organizations. Unfortunately, it really only benefits those two organizations and the majority of the audience. Not everybody, though.
Yeah, I mean, Regal is not on board. Independent theaters are obviously not on board. The other studios aren't on board. And why that's important, you know, people are like, well, who cares about them? None of this is going to matter if they're not on board. None of it. Because independent theaters, I don't think the chains really care about them. And that's sad. That's not fair. But it is what it is. Unfortunately, it's the world of business. That's capitalism. What it does mean, though, is that if the other theaters aren't on board, which they're not, then Universal's not going to push this because they're not going to cut their hand to save their face. I mean, that means they couldn't put their movie in all of those theaters because they won't play them. And Universal doesn't want to lose those theaters. Now, could it be beneficial when they're talking about, okay, well, fine, we'll give it exclusively to AMC. The other guys won't get any of this, and we'll just play it there. It'll work for smaller movies, but blockbusters, they're going to have to respect the window still. So I don't think it's going to be as beneficial. And in my mind, those are really the movies where both AMC is going to win and Universal is going to win by shortening the window. So if you're not going to do that for those, why even bother? It's not really that great.
Well, on the flip side of it is the stuff that you're missing out is all the smaller movies that they could be pushing out that isn't getting all the attention it should be getting because
True.
It's coming out on a weekend in which, some Marvel character comes out with a movie. And, if somebody has to make a choice of, do I go see this Marvel movie or do I go see this smaller movie in the theater? Well, I'm going to go see the Marvel movie. And then whenever this smaller movie comes out, I'll be able to see that. So the sooner they can get that in front of somebody, the better.
It's also probably really important, at least to me, to note that when we talk about AMC being the leading theater chain, that's worldwide. When we're talking about the United States, they account for, I think, just a little over 20% of the theater screens in just the United States.
Yep.
And so they're not the majority here. They're the majority worldwide, but they're not here. And so that's still a lot of people that are losing access. And I have a hard time accepting that this could be beneficial just for a few of us when the majority would lose out on this. And I feel like it's probably a good opportunity for AMC right now because they need to build all of the capital that they can and investments.
It's great for their long term. Absolutely.
Yeah, right. And so I'm happy for that because I care about the longevity of this theater chain. It's, I like the brand and I like the theater, but I don't know, when we always talk about, we're a podcast that cares about the independents, independent filmmakers and independent actors. Well, they're all kind of independent, but except for the ones in Hollywood. But when we're talking about those little guys on the totem pole, that's these mom and pop theater chains. And so if we say we don't care about them and we say, hey, hoorah, then I don't know. I feel like it's counter to where my moral compass is. And so I'm happy, but I'm also really sad. It kind of sucks.
I wasn't even really getting into my opinion. I was kind of just looking at it from the broad spectrum. My opinion, I don't like it because I am an independent minded person and across the board, politically, financially, everything. I really don't think this is a good deal for this feels like a big business deal. That's what it feels like to me. And it's going to hurt people in the long run because the way I see it is, yeah, this will be great short term. I mean, they'll make a deal. Universal gets to shorten the window, but it sets a precedent that'll ruin theaters going forward. And I'm against that. I always have been, always will be. Sorry. I'm glad you love your home theater experience. I'm not Tom Hanks. I don't have that screen. Neither do you. It's very much important to me to have a theatrical experience. This shoots that in the foot. Once you set the precedent, they can come back and change that. That deal's not going to be forever. There's always a time lapse on any deal where there's financial incentives. So whenever that 20% goes away, what happens? Or the next version of whatever media is going to be, then what happens when they don't re-up? The window's already established. Theaters are going to suffer because then AMC doesn't get that cut. And the other theaters who didn't already get the cut, the windows are already shorter, so they're just dying on the vine. I don't like it.
You know what this deal reminds me of?
30 days. Make the window 30 days. None of this 20% nonsense. And I feel like that would be a fair for everyone across the board kind of deal.
This deal reminds me of what happened with Movie Pass. We were so excited for something when it was just the surface of it, when we didn't know all of the details or think about the ins and outs. And it was a deal that was made specifically for monetary gain of one organization. And this is for two organizations, but it's still not for the majority of the populace. And that's what the Movie Pass was. Once they made that deal, it was just not beneficial for everyone. And they did not make it structurally sound. And so it crumbled. And it hurt more people than it did not hurt people. I mean, we got AMC's and Regals and all these other theater chains to hop on board for these passes. But I mean, in the medium term, I guess, there was a lot of people that were negatively affected by this. They were losing money to a company and they literally could not get access to the service they were paying for, or all of the other issues that came with it. And it was just not a well thought out idea. And I feel like this is one of those where it's like, oh, this could be beneficial in one way, but there's so many other cons that it's too shaky.
I mean, I am happy. Look, I'll be perfectly honest. The 90-day window is probably past its time. There's no reason to wait. And for anybody that didn't understand that to this point, that means from the date that the movie's released, they can't put it on home video for 90 days. That seems like a long period of time because movies don't last that long at the box office anymore. When's the last time you saw a movie 3 months after it came out? Black Panther, that's probably the last one. I mean, movies just don't last that long. So it feels like, yeah, you need to adjust for today's environment. And there are plenty of people that are clamoring to watch movies at home. They want to pay that $20 rental fee or whatever it is, not $30, Disney, crazy sons of bitches. Pay that $20 rental fee. They want to watch it in their home because even though we can all agree your setup is not comparable to a movie theater, whether you agree or not, it's a fact. You are very happy with it, and that makes you happy. That's what they should be concerned about. Okay, they don't want to go venture out to the theater. For them, for many people, it's no longer the same experience. For whatever reason, comfort, ease of access, whatever it is. Therefore, there should be an option for them. Day and date, I will say forever, I will never be on board with that because it doesn't make financial sense for any theater chain to agree to that. But they could shorten that window. And if they made it 30 days, that feels like it's more reasonable and fair. And then everybody does win that way, in my mind. But you know what? They're trying to set a precedent. Maybe it'll change some minds, man. But I just cannot see Disney, greedy Disney making that deal. But I didn't see Mulan making, being a add-on on Disney Plus either. So times can change easy.
Why exactly did they change their mind is the question. Like
Disney or AMC?
What's that?
Who changed who?
Well, the whole Disney bit. Like Disney's finally, saying, all right, you know what? Let's just release this on Disney Plus.
40%. They just released their stock report like yesterday or the day before. It was 40% plummet. They have to generate revenues. So they're trying to do something to both jazz up Disney Plus and also recoup some losses because they're hurting this year. They made a statement alluding to that.
And 40% for Disney money is pretty large.
Yeah, 40% for us is like, whew, that hurts. Disney's like, man, we got to sell a whole continent? Damn.
We got to get rid of our private island? This is bullshit.
Yeah. That's like 4 private islands for Disney. Oh, they're hurting. We can't even launch any cruise ships. The Disney cruise, they've really got a lot when you think about it.
Yep.
So much. Let me ask you this. How do you guys feel about all these changing time? I mean, Corona's kind of brought this on. I don't think this ever would have happened without the issue with coronavirus. So do you think that some of these changes we're getting across the world, people working from home, social media companies or most of their employees are working from home, this just changing, entertainment's changing. There's a lot of changes that are happening in the last few months. I don't know if I think I told you this. In New York, you can't be dressed as a police officer on the streets and for cop shows. So, I mean, there are so many changes across the board that are happening in the last few months in entertainment that are just wild. Some good, some bad, some great, How do you feel about all that?
For me, it's just a matter of I'm interested in just seeing where the growth happens from it, because of something like this, there's obviously a void, and there's obviously something's going to grow in that void, and I'm just fascinated with what it could possibly be, and interested in seeing that. Maybe it's some amalgamation of things that we all want, and that turns into something we all hate. Who knows? But it's something. Bottom line, though, there are several companies that are hurting, like Disney. And
can you even say that with a straight face, though? I mean, it's like Disney. I mean, they made $47 bazillion last year, and now we're like, poor Disney.
Well, I mean, you can say that about any. Like, look at Comcast.
True.
Comcast is gonna, do whatever they want over the internet, because they just have to keep reporting profits every single year, and because everyone's got the internet, let's figure out new and exciting ways to do that. Even though we're making money hand over fist, no matter what, they're never in the red. But we have companies that are showing up in the red because they have product that they can't get to us. So I'm just fascinated to see where that's going to go.
In terms of the changes to the industry, some are good, some are bad. I mean, I feel like that comes with anything where there's change. I think when we talk about the existing workforce, like people who are working from home and the growth of IT and technology, like that's good because we're getting a boost in things that a lot of leaders did not think was going to be possible. So people are able to, spend more time doing something else because they might not have their commute anymore or whatever the case may be. They might be able to eat healthier lunches or go for walks more. There's obviously downfalls in terms of the isolation and all of that. But when we talk about the entertainment industry, I feel like with any changes that come to it, there's going to be something that's good and something that's bad. And you just have to make sure that the good is outweighing the bad.
All right. In closing, can we all agree that us three are going to split this Mulan thing and use each other's account so we can pay $10 to watch it instead of 30?
Sure.
Sweet.
I can't make any promises.
God damn it. John, you always got to ruin it.
Does it have to be that weekend? I mean, it's Labor Day weekend. I'd rather do something else.
Let's get drunk.
Yeah. There we go. That sounds right. That sounds right. You know what? Let's move on to something fun. We're going to play a game called How Do You Survive? Summer 2020 edition. That's right. We take 3 random movie scenarios and we kind of jazz them up with a little 2020 in there. And then we have to give our best solution for how we would survive. Are you guys ready? We're going to go in this order. John, Amanda, me. You guys ready for the first?
I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Sure.
I'm ready.
Here we go. Here's a scenario. There's a pandemic loose across the country. Mass loons are loose and they love human flesh and can run like the wind. You're out of toilet paper, water, beer, and ice cream, which you need to survive. But I can't even say that with a straight face. But there is a grocery store 6 blocks from your house, separated by a wide field and a playground. How do you survive, John?
Easy.
Okay.
I don't.
Wait, you're giving up?
Aren't you supposed to be like a master runner now? What happened?
That's what makes it. I mean, I'm pretty damn fast, and I can sprint pretty well, and I can get I can cover some really good distances these days. But you just nailed it. We're in a zombie apocalypse. I've watched way too much Walking Dead. I'm just gonna go and try my damnedest and then trip and fall. That's the way it's gonna work. I watched too. I'm like, I made it, and then somebody's gonna look out for the rake. That's what rake? And then boom, it hits me in the face, and I'm tumbling across the floor, and all of a sudden I'm dead. That's what's gonna happen.
These zombies throw out tricks.
Right. You're dead because you were yelling. Why were you yelling? You're supposed to be trying to hide and
he'd probably
cover
forget
yourself.
to tie his shoes, knowing John. He's like, I gotta stop and tie my shoes.
I love my running shoes, but the biggest problem with it, the shoelaces are 14 miles long, and and they don't stay tight all the time. And sometimes I gotta double bow them, do the rabbit thing, and then you gotta do it again.
Ears.
Yeah, I gotta double bunny them up, and all of a sudden, sometimes they stay, sometimes they don't. I'm dead. You know what? That's okay because it's a zombie apocalypse, and I don't want to live through that shit.
I mean, that's not a bad point.
There's all good arguments right there. All right, Amanda, what's your how do you survive?
I was kind of proud of this one.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
I'm going to load up the guns in the house. I'm going to take the handguns. I'm not taking the rifle here because I'm a little bit afraid of it. Rifles are a little scary.
Okay.
But I'm going to move slow and quiet, and I'm going to take a long knife with me because you never know what you're going to need when somebody gets a little too close. And when I hit the playground, I'm assuming that the playground comes first. The playground, I'm going to use the slides as cover, and then I'm going to crouch my way through the field to get through.
What if they smell you?
And trust me, it's a zombie apocalypse. They can smell your ass.
I like it. It's a well thought out plan. I think you might make it. And you can use John's corpse as a shield.
Ooh, that's an even better idea. Who needs playgrounds when you have John's corpse?
Well, I only just got zombified, so now I'm a super fast dead zombie guy coming at you.
You got to go through that whole transition first. And, it's our scenario. It's going to take, let's say, 6 hours. She can use it as a shield.
Fine.
I feel like there's got to be something that they don't like maybe a flavor that they're not a fan of. Everybody likes garlic, so it's not garlic. But it's probably, there's something that they don't like. Anchovies,
be careful.
maybe, where they're like, ew.
Now you're tripping into my scenario, all right?
Oh, well, I was going to cover myself in it if I have scent.
Okay.
But go ahead.
Well, why bother at this point? You kind of just took it. Okay, so...
Right, she just like kept going. You could have, you could have just shut up and not open the door for her, but she just kept going.
I could have.
Look,
he could have.
They love human flesh, but even the nastiest zombie wants nothing to do with onions or garlic. I mean, there's a reason vampires hate it, right? There's a reason. So I roll myself around in tons of onions and garlic. I kind of lather up in it. I mean, I use it like a body oil. That's what I do. Then I'll run with these loons, so they'll think I'm one of them. But they'll call me Stinky. Stinky. So they'll just think I'm part of the crew, and they'll call me Stinky Pete. That's what they'll do. And that's how I'm going to survive. I'm going to be Stinky Pete running through the apocalypse with the horde. Boom. Done. Of course, Amanda stole it, so it's not as cool anymore.
Right.
It's whatever. Okay. Scenario number 2. Here we go. You're trapped in your neighbor's garage. He is not home, and the garage door is broke open, which means you can't close it. You only need to get across the street to barricade yourself inside your home. But a swarm of murder hornets have arrived. You know how this movie ends if you don't get inside. You have access to all garage items. How do you survive?
Besides my easy answer, which would be, I'm dead. I'm just dead. You know, because we all know that's how it doesn't matter what I say, because I already know that if I say any decent plan, I'm dead, because Aaron and Amanda will sit there and tell me how my decent plan is dead. So what I'm going to do, and I have this in my, I have one of these huge tarps, like these, you know, plasticky kind of tarps that are pretty thick. We use it during hurricane season to make sure if anything happens in the backyard, it gets too flooded or anything, we sandbag the backyard or the back door so it doesn't. Anyhow, I'm going to roll myself up in that thing because it covers head to toe at the very least. I'm a giant burrito, and I'm going to use a snorkel kind of to breathe out of it with a snorkel mask so I can see. I'm going to keep it all really tight around my face so it's really close. And then I'm just going to kind of giant burrito shuffle my way to my house and get in that way.
Okay. I mean, that works.
Burrito? Hang on. Burrito shuffle shift? What?
I don't think there was a shift. Was there a shift?
Burrito.
It was a shuffle.
What is a burrito shuffle? What the hell is that? You roll.
Well, you know how like you eat
a wiggle in a burrito.
Like a wiggle. Like maybe you got to take a shit, but you don't want to move your legs too much, so you just kind of like move your legs very little because you got to keep your ass cheeks really tight.
You know what? You're winning. I got this one. You don't have to continue on this one. I got it. I don't want to see how the story ends.
You can feel the gurgle in your stomach of where the burrito happens.
Amanda, your turn. Your turn, Amanda. Oh my God.
So I'm going to take the gas-powered leaf blower, duct taping a butane torch to the end, and setting those motherfuckers on fire. I win.
Wow. All right, then. Even dropping an F-bomb for no reason whatsoever except to make sure that...
they're murder hornets. They deserve it. Don't come here and mess with me.
Okay.
I don't like you.
Easy. All right.
You're bugs on drugs.
Well, I got a plan. I'm going to grab my neighbor's motorcycle jacket because he's got one.
Just the jacket?
Hang on.
Okay.
Hang on. And his helmet off his motorcycle. I'll put both on.
Okay, safety first.
Hang on. It's my story. Let me tell it. I put both on. Then I duct tape my pants and everything else because nothing gets through duct tape, leather, and a biker's helmet. And then I just burrito shuffle across the street into my house.
I'm really glad I let you have the motorcycle helmet and jacket and everything. Like, I was actually thinking a second ago, I'm like, wait a minute, if I'm burritoed up in this damn giant tarp, how am I going to open the door? And it's like, my answer is Aaron. Aaron is going to open the door.
I never said we were at the same house, man.
You didn't say that you weren't.
That's true.
Yeah, you didn't say we weren't.
You know what? We're at opposing houses. I'm your neighbor across the street. so
you're the one. Wait.
So I'm using
who has the
helmet.
broken door?
We both have broken doors because we both broke them because we hate each other. That's what it is. That's what happened.
So we're both a-holes.
So then why don't you just go into your own house door?
Don't read too much into this.
Wait a minute. Why don't we just jump inside the house? Why are we stuck in the garage? We can just go inside the house and close the door. Just, forfeit the garage.
There's an alarm. You don't know it. I don't know.
I don't care.
Look,
I would be like, there are murder hornets.
Last scenario, your friend Billy just returned from somewhere But he mentions he ate a diseased bat's ass at a wet market.
Oh, Billy.
Because it looked delicious. Billy is looking a little ghostly and is getting ready to sneeze your general direction. You look outside and you see Dustin Hoffman from Outbreak, Lawrence Fishburne from Contagion, and Sigourney Weaver from Alien. Who do you call for help to survive?
Easy. Because I'm an American and I don't have that thing called patience, I'm going for Dustin Hoffman. He'll have it solved in 45 minutes flat.
That's true. I've got a vaccine. I'm going to make out with my wife who's diseased before I have it, though. Yep. Oh, good call. All right, Amanda, who are you going with?
Well, so we don't know the real ramifications of this yet because we're assuming this is the first incident.
Yeah, patient zero,
okay.
Really. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't know what's going to happen to his body. I've watched a lot of scary movies, so I'm tainted. So I'm going to take Ms. Weaver and, just in case an alien pops out of his chest. You can never be too careful.
You know what?
But
I'm with you.
You gotta be careful.
I'm with you. I'm sorry, Billy, but it's 2020. I'm not taking any chances. You're done. You're going to be deep fried.
Seriously, Billy, especially if we're in September.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten to September yet. I don't know what's on the bingo card yet.
Exactly. And
Aliens.
while John is spending 45 minutes getting that diseased bat's ass all over him, waiting for Dustin Hoffman to miraculously come up with a vaccine.
Am I tunneling the bat now?
No, he's spewing stuff.
Billy.
Oh.
Sigourney Weaver.
Billy's doing this.
Yeah, Billy's doing it. He's got all the bat's ass in him. Sigourney Weaver is going to take care of this problem in 4.5 seconds. She's just going to take a flamethrower to his ass. And
she's BA.
Yeah, and then she's the one up for murder charges, not me. I just opened the door.
Truth bomb.
Just open the door.
All right. I mean, I don't think I ever saw Ripley save somebody's life by using a beaker, but okay.
You didn't not.
Ha! Maybe you did. Maybe machine gun, whatever it is she used. I don't care. Whatever weapon you can fathom. That's what she's going to. Basically, Billy is really dead. So dead. Dead like you in Zombie Apocalypse dead. So dead. So
4.5 seconds flat. That was a fast, short run.
She doesn't waste time. All right. So Patreon. Thanks everybody who supports us on Patreon. Our show is independently funded. If you don't know what that is, patreon.com/The Hollywood Outsider. There's a ton of bonus content. And that is not changing when we're taking this every other week break thing. So the bonus episode for the $5 level and the $3 level will both be there. Promise. So that's not going to change whatsoever. And I think the next one will be DC versus Marvel. We're actually looking at summer franchises and why are people so mad at DC and Marvel? And also we just had a bonus episode, which John and Amanda did, and I wasn't there, which might make it more appealing for all of you.
There's definitely less rules.
Right.
Yeah, I heard it. You guys really had fun with that. Interesting.
I told you he was going to listen to it. I told you.
Listen to the whole episode. Sure did.
I don't care.
What an asshole. All right. So then we got some spoiler-free reviews. I Used to Go Here is up first.
I Used to Go Here is one that Erin caught. A successful author finds herself deeply enmeshed in the lives of a group of college students after being asked to speak at her alma mater. This stars Gillian Jacobs. And if it's not too spoilery, what is the catalyst for this author getting involved with the lives of these kids?
Yeah, and it's coming on video on demand. The 7th, I think it is. Well, she lost her fiance. She published a novel and it flopped. Her book did really bad, so they canceled her book tour. And her best friend is expecting. She's just kind of lost, is what it is. So she gets invited by her college crush, who's Professor David Jermaine Clement. You know him. He's hysterical at all times, but he also does a very dramatic role here. He calls and says, "Come on back for a live reading of your novel," even though nobody's buying it. She goes back, and it's kind of like her finding out her place in the world. She reconnects with this writer's retreat. It's kind of like a sorority house for writers that's across the street from where she's staying. And they're 15 years younger than her, but she kind of gets a feel for who she was at that time. And she's trying to figure out why her path didn't go the way that she planned.
That actually sounds more appealing than the synopsis that was online.
Much. And
so,
kudos for getting her name right. Everybody says Jillian. It's Gillian. Gillian Jacobs. Yep.
Yep. Just like GIF.
Yep.
Not GIF. So how does Gillian portray this role? Is it more serious or more dorky? Because if you know her in Community, she's got a little bit of talent in both ways.
I'll be honest, she started off very grating, like kind of a bit too 90s Meg Ryan, as I think what I referenced in my review. But as the film goes on, it's a choice, though. It's a choice that works because as the film goes on, you kind of get the character and understand the character a little bit more. And Kate is struggling with that frustration of her perceived failures. She has a need to belong places. She's a real struggle in terms of relationship status. Like she lost her fiance and she has a crush on this professor. She meets this younger guy that she kind of likes. Like she's all over the place and she can't figure her life out. And she makes that role completely relatable. You know, this role could either be really annoying or too over the top, and I think she plays it absolutely perfect. It's completely relatable, and 100% of that is due to Gillian's pretty layered and textured performance.
So then let's talk about the writer and director. She goes by Chris Ray.
Mm-hmm.
She is a prior South by Southwest and Chicago Film Festival nominee, as well as a winner at the Midwest Independent Film Festival for some other works that she's done.
Well, good for her.
Rising potential here? Is this impressive to you?
Oh, man, definitely. I would call this, I think I did call this, a mix between young adult and American Pie. Like there's a nice blend of those kinds of comedy and drama elements. I think she does a great job. She definitely gives you something to keep an eye on. It's an interesting story. It's original. It's not a coming of age story. It's like I came of age. I didn't do very well. Let's go back to my youth and figure out what I did wrong. It's like that story. And that was really interesting to watch. So it's definitely worth the VOD, at least rental if you don't want to buy the movie.
And when does this release again?
I think it's August 7th.
So if the full price of admission were $10, what are you giving?
$7, which covers the rental. What? All right. And the other thing that came out is, and we're going to do this a little quicker and different because it's a season 2, but I know John loves the show, so we can't just mention it. We got to at least talk about it. Umbrella.
I could have mentioned it, but we can have a chat about it too.
I don't think we could because you just would end up talking about it anyway. Umbrella Academy season 2. Now, for people that have never seen the show, it's on Netflix. It's a family of former superheroes that had grown estranged. Their father passes away and brings them back together again. They reunite to save the world, possibly. And it's on Netflix and stars Ellen Page, Tom Hopper, Emmy Raver, Lampman, and others. Now we're into season 2, which you finished already, John. So without spoiling, What's the overall plot of season 2?
Well, season 2 starts off with number 5 landing in the 1960s, and essentially he lands right in the middle of World War III. And then he discovers that the World War III was essentially started by the Umbrella Academy, and he has to jump back and figure out how to stop it, how to bring his family back together again, because at the end of season 1, they save the world. Or actually, they don't save the world. They just avoid the apocalypse by jumping back in time all the way to what we discover in this season to be the 1960s. They're all spread out through the 1960s and come together when 5 finally lands where he needs to land. So they all develop these lives waiting for 5 to show up, and they're not really understanding that each one of them landed there too. So they all had a separate life and come back together again. So a lot of the cast from the first season's back. Some of the characters that were heels from the first season are back, and I mean it's still great fun.
So what stands out for you, again, without spoiling, what stands out for you as the bright spot and the weak spot of the season?
The bright spot of this is the relationships between the characters and how they develop and how they play off those relationships, because it feels like a real family. It feels like a real family that understand each other so much that they can just kind of like, when one person says something, they're like, yeah, I knew you were going to say that because we've been together forever. So can we just move on? There's a lot of that kind of happening. And a lot of assumptions, just like you would with your normal family. I knew we were going to do that. You're my brother, and my brother always does that because you're an a-hole. So I like how real it feels as far as relationship goes. And then on top of that, an additional bright spot is the soundtrack. The soundtrack is used so expertly that you can't help but smile every single time they bring up a cool song and they put in a situation. The weak spot.
Well, hang on, before you do, I want to mention, I've been watching season 1, trying to get a feel for it, and I like it much more than I did when I originally did. But I just want to say, in terms of the music, a lot of times when people say, the music's great, there's not many shows, I think, that use music to really establish a mood. A lot of time it's just a compliment to what's going on or something to accent the action. Blacklist is a show, everybody that listens here knows I love that show. They do a great job with music. This show does a wonderful job with music too. And in that way, where it feels like the music is a character, and I love that because not enough TV shows do that.
Right. No, it definitely is a character, and it adds something to every single scene. And you'll find at the end of season 1, they use it so expertly that you can't imagine any other song being in the place that they put them in certain situations. And you'll find yourself listening to it on Spotify over and over again, it's one of my favorite playlists at this point.
All right, weak spot.
Weak spot. I think to me, the biggest weak spot is because we are dealing with family. Some of the minor melodramatic moments when people are dealing with each other, I just want to get past, because it feels like being in the third person viewing and all. You're like, all right, I know you guys are going to get past this. Can we just move that along a little bit faster? It was like that a lot in season 1, and it happens a little bit less this season, but it's still there, and it's still noticeable to make you go, can we get to the point where you guys just come together and work together again? Because I know you're going to do that.
Yeah, I get that. All right, so should people catch up to this series right away?
I absolutely think they should. This is one of my favorite shows on Netflix at the moment. I will put this right up there with Stranger Things and any of the other things that I'm forgetting that I love so much from Netflix.
You do love your Netflix.
I do love my Netflix. This is probably one of the top things that Netflix has given us. I do want to say that this was the comic for this was created by Gerald Way, I think his name is, and he was a lead singer for My Chemical Romance?
My Chemical Romance, yeah. The Black Parade.
Yeah. Yeah, and he has a background in comics, and he actually went to art school, and knowing that adds a little bit of flavor to how much music plays a character in this. So it's very layered and very neat. So I do love this.
All right,
it's Gerard Way, by the way.
Whatever, I heard it both ways.
Okay, I was just gonna let you give him.
I haven't. She's the music nut. She probably got it right. All right, so for $10 full price of admission, what do you give season 2? Just season 2 of Umbrella Academy.
If I were to say season 1 is $7, season 2 is actually $8.
Nice. It got better.
Wow.
That's good. All right. We've got some new releases over the next couple of weeks to look out for. So we're going to mention those real quick. Amanda?
The first one up is Spinster, that comes out on VOD August 7th. A woman.
She sounds hot.
Well, it's played by Chelsea Peretti, who wrestles with her fears of loneliness when her partner breaks up with her on her 39th birthday. Don't be mean. I like her. She's funny. But she's the only listed cast person, so that's interesting.
Well, following that on August 7th, we have The Tax Collector. A tax collector for a crime lord finds his family safely compromised when his boss's old rivals show up in LA to upend his business. This is directed and written by David Ayer. We could not help ourselves. And this stars Bobby Soto, Cynthia Carmon, and Shia LaBeouf
as the tax collector.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was him. I thought it was Glasses from
Glasses. They don't have a name. They just
No, Shades. What was his name? I think his name was Shades from Luke Cage, but he was also in Sons of Anarchy.
I can't help you, brother. I just can't. I don't know what you're doing right now, but it's making me uncomfortable. The Bay of Silence.
I'm not doing a thing here. I'm just saying.
Comes out on August 14th. I did watch it, but I'm embargoed, so I can't talk about it yet. But watch for my review on the 10th or so. Will believes his wife, Rosalind, might be innocent of a suspected murder, only to discover the devastating truth in her past that might link to another unsolved crime. Stars Claes Bang and Olga Kurylenko, as well as Brian Cox. And I'll tell you this. It's very Hitchcockian. If you know me, that's a compliment. That's all I'll say.
Well, alrighty then. So Endless comes to VOD August 14th. Stuck in limbo after dying in a car accident, a young man transcends life and death by finding a way to reconnect with the woman he loves. Stars Alexandra Shipp and Nicholas Hamilton.
And then on August 14th, we have Skin, A History of Nudity in the Movies, otherwise known as I'm Definitely Watching This. It's a documentary. It's a definitive documentary of the history of nudity in feature films. This is directed by Danny Wolf, and you're gonna see the likes of I don't know why Tracy Lords gets first billing, but hey, she got it. Good for her. Sean Young, Shannon Elizabeth, Marilyn Monroe, and see a lot more.
Kevin Smith's in this thing, I think.
Yeah, he is.
That's why he's so hyped.
Oh yeah, John's like,
no,
not because of nudity, but because of Kevin Smith. I understand.
Yep.
Yeah. Look, let's be honest. I'm here for the nudity.
Also, I'd like to mention, because I'm also embargoed, but to at least mention to keep it on your radar, there is a documentary coming out called Pretending I'm a Superman, the Tony Hawk video game story. We'll have an interview and such coming out for it in a written review, but just keep your eye on that.
Well, I feel really left out because I'm not embargoed.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, whose fault is that really? If somebody would check their email.
Check your email,
once in a while.
Well, I don't know my password.
John, I'll reset it again. I promise. I'll do it right after this show and I'll send it to you. In fact, I'm going to tell everybody his password's going to be dumbass. I promise. That's what it's going to be. Go ahead and log in.
Make the S's the money sign.
I don't know how many times I got to tell you I don't know my password.
All right. Well, let's move on to our From the Outside In topic. Okay, summer camp in the movies or at the movies? I don't remember which way we're going with this, but Tracy Heinrichs is a Patreon supporter, and she suggested this topic, so we're going to do this. So, Tracy, this one's for you. We're going to talk about campfires and those snuggly little stories that people tell, those little campfire, summer camp, the innocents lost and people murdered.
Murder.
Sex, whatever else happened in
sex
summer
and
camp.
murder is what I relate summer camp to.
Yeah, so I want to ask you guys before we talk about the actual movies, did either one of you guys ever go to summer camp, like Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, something else? I don't know.
I don't believe this is a real thing.
I did a Christian retreat summer camp thing.
That explains a lot.
It was bizarre. I have nothing against anybody who goes on them. My experience was just very bizarre. It was, yeah.
Did you do all the stuff that they show in the movies where you're making craft? I mean, I wasn't a Boy Scout one, but I'll talk about that in a second. But did you make crafts? Did you do, or was it prayers? What?
There was, well, this was.
Did you build a cross?
No, it was the one, they speak in tongues that I can't remember. It starts with a P, I think.
Seriously?
Yeah. And
this is like a witch. This is like a witch retreat.
It's very unexpected when it happens. And so, I wish somebody would have told me that that's what I should have expected beyond the singing while I was there. Don't laugh. I don't mean to laugh.
At one point, did somebody go, and we're going to need the blood of a virgin? Anyone? Anyone? You.
But it's almost like, I don't know. It almost felt like somebody was going into a seizure, but and I don't mean that as like a joke. I mean that seriously. So it was very confusing because I was concerned about this person who happened to be my relative. And,
oh, wow.
But she really believed at that time, I haven't touched base with her since then about it, but believed that it was, her speaking to God or God coming through her. I can't remember how it works, but I wish somebody would have told me that it wasn't a seizure before I started freaking out for a minute, because she does have an epilepsy disorder.
Oh, wow.
So.
And now she can walk again.
She can walk. But no, I mean, for the most part, it was kind of fun. They didn't separate it wasn't like,
the
it was
heathens
co-ed.
from the non-heathens?
It wasn't, it was co-ed. They had decent meals.
They had co-ed at a religious summer camp?
Yeah, you didn't sleep in the same
that's not real co-ed then.
You had separate buildings.
If I go co-ed, I'm going all the way co-ed. You know what I'm saying?
You're doing yes of God. Yes, God, yes.
Yes, God, yes. That's uncomfortable.
So,
I'm sorry.
But that's the extent of my summer camping.
Wow. I did do a Bible camp. I don't know if that counts as summer camp. That was different.
Was it over the summer?
It wasn't like whatever you described, though. I mean, that just sounds very uncomfortable and scary. And honestly, witchcraft was involved. No, yeah, it was over the summer. It was like a week. But you would do arts and crafts, but a lot of it was religious studies, and that didn't feel like summer camp. It felt like I was just at church for a week, and that meant my mom got a break. It was a mom vacation. That's what it felt like.
Pentecostal. That's the religion.
Ah, Well, I'm Baptist, so maybe that's the difference. We don't have any, I don't know, wild snake orgies or whatever the hell you guys were doing there. But I did go to Boy Scout summer camp, which is very similar to what it is in the movies, or at least it was then. You know, you have arts and crafts, and you have to, like, 2 boys in a tent, and you're sharing that, and you sit around campfire telling each other stories. There's a lake you can go swimming in. There's stuff to do every day. There's archery. Somebody gets a arrow through their hand every time. You know, that kind of stuff. It's fun. It was a good time.
Sorry, Tommy. I didn't mean to get that in your hand. You shouldn't have eaten my applesauce.
Yeah. And my temp mate was so weird. He was just so weird. It's a story I'd love to tell you off the air because that dude was weird.
Well, I hope he's not a listener or, by God, a Patreon supporter.
I just hope he found Jesus because he was a very uncomfortable dude.
Oh, you're so mean.
All right.
You guys are the official 2 first people I've ever talked to who've done some sort of summer camp thing.
Get out of here. Really?
Seriously, I have never, nor have I ever talked to anyone who've done a summer camp. It's just not something that, why do I have a weird accent all of a sudden?
Well, both of ours were religious, so.
What did they do in Boy Scouts wasn't? What did they do in Panama? Just like labor camps?
You're so wrong.
Like, my best friend was a monkey and my backyard was a rainforest. I just got lost in the rainforest.
I knew it, John the Explorer. I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it. That's too bad, man. That was a fun experience.
Explorer.
But I will tell you, I mean, I did it once and I didn't really need to do it again.
I've always, going into the first question that you have here about the movies that revolve around summer camp.
Do you enjoy movies that revolve around summer camp? If so, why? There we go.
Right. So I'm just going to jump right ahead into this because, like, to keep it on topic, because somebody has to right now. Whenever I watch these movies, I watch them and I go, this is a great fantasy world where people go and they make friends. And that is kind of weird and crazy because I don't know what that's like. Because all of us were basically, my summers were full of, we're going to go outside and play Ring Olivio or hide and seek or, destroy something. Ring Olivio? It's like capture the flag only with people.
So you capture people?
Real people?
Kidnap them, throw them in a cage? What are you doing here?
That's exactly what Ring Olivio is. You have to chase after somebody. It's like a giant
cartel owner? What are you doing?
It's the only way to describe it is capture the flag with people. So the person is, you got one team that's hiding and the other team has to go hunt them down. And when you find somebody from the other team, you have to grab them and you have to say 1, 2, 3 Ring Olivio.
That's murder.
And once you say that person has
probably murder.
Right.
This feels like the training camp for Liam Neeson.
Did you happen to be like pop out of a van? Were you guys driving in a van for this game? And then suddenly you just pulled up next to somebody and then like the door swung open, like, get him! And suddenly you have
you had a brother or sister.
Yeah, congratulations! Family group.
I'm not going to say it didn't happen.
It's so wrong to be making jokes about this.
That's probably true.
Is it?
I mean, yeah.
I'm kind of tight-lipped about the whole thing right now. I'm not denying anything you all are saying. I'm also not agreeing to it. I just want that to be clear.
Wink, wink, wink. When it comes to the movies, I love summer camp for the same reason, John. I mean, I didn't get that experience when I went either. So when I watch the movies, I want not the murder, death, kill part where Jason pops out of it. I don't want that. But that whole, like, where you're making friends and you're, learning how to shoot a bow and arrow and you're swimming together and you're getting life lessons and maybe you lose your virginity, whatever it is, that kind of stuff I think is like really sweet. And that whole, when people had innocence thing, I just, and friendship and relationships and the first crush on a girl or boy or whatever way you go. It just, that kind of stuff. Or both. Well, hey, if you equal opportunity, you know what I'm saying? Like spread the love. Whatever it is, it's just, I always found those stories really beautiful. And I also love the ones where they all get killed.
Man, I'm going to sound like such a downer.
The ones where they all get killed is so much more fun.
They're way better.
I connect them. Because you have the innocent ones where you have all these kids they made friends and they're all falling for so-and-so and it's beautiful. And then you have the ones, they come back 5 years later. They're teenagers. Everybody is sick of them. And then Jason shows up. I like those too. Because it's kind of like, here's what happened once they lost all that innocence. They turned into jackasses. And now you have Jason here to settle that score. To enforce social distancing standards.
I kind of look at it as I always feel like the survivor of a Friday the 13th movie, because all my friends have like that, you know, they're dead and everything. And to some point, I'm like, God, thank God that person died.
Jeez. God.
Whoa.
Amanda, take over. Amanda, he's done. He's done.
Okay.
He's done.
Redirecting. So I thought I was going to sound very dark and dour, but anyway, I'm not crazy about summer camp movies because A, that was not my experience. B, I did not want to go away to a camp. I don't like people. I don't like the outdoors. I don't like bugs. And I hardly like sunlight because it doesn't like me. So none of this sounds appealing to me. I can lose my virginity not outside with mosquito bites. That's just all I'm saying.
Amanda's just sitting in one of those cabins, just looking at the door, just waiting for the day when she gets picked up. Like, is this thing over yet?
Seriously, where's the van?
We have to go to another ritual? Oh, great. I can't wait.
Sorry, the van's with me picking up other kids and selling them on the black market.
Can you sell me? That experience was not fun. I do not like being outdoors. This was a miserable experience. I did not want to go. And so I have zero fondness for summer camp.
When you watch them in the movies, you don't see any appreciation for them there either?
No, I don't. I
she just basically goes, wow, they're gonna die sticky.
with bites.
With mosquito bites. And then that's not going to be fun. How are you going to have enjoyable sex with mosquito bites everywhere? Like, you're going to confuse the two.
No, not at all. Nope.
As a Floridian, I can tell you're not going to confuse the two.
Okay, good to know. But no, it's just not for me. I do, however, love the horror summer
Which
camps.
two are you confusing?
I don't know what two she's talking about, because she's saying just there's two things.
Mosquito bites and then the itchiness of like
Whoa,
a problematic
VDs?
sex experience.
Select some partners better. I don't know what to tell you.
Like wear a condom,
Jeez.
dental dam, all those things are good for you.
Oh my God. Okay, horror movies. I don't know how we got off. This feels like the Yes God Yes review. Okay, so what is the horror movie thing that you like?
Oh, those are the ones I can appreciate because I like horror movies. And I'm like, why? You shouldn't be there anyway, so it's your fault. Like, goodbye.
Wow. You shouldn't be out there having fun, learning wilderness things.
I mean, you really probably should. And I'm very jealous of those people who can handle it. I'm just not one of them. Those happen to be more fun and interesting. I'm just not interested very much about kids doing crafts outside. Why? If I wanted to watch that, I would just watch Ron Swanson. At least he's funny.
That's fair. You know, I love camping. I mean, I really just love camping. Mm-hmm. But what's funny is I didn't like camping until I was like 30. I absolutely hated it until then. So I never liked the actual camping aspect. But it was always like, I want to have that relationship that everybody in the movies had. And I never got that. In fact, instead, I got the weird dude that I had to share a tent with.
Oh, so you were lonely. You were looking for friends through your cinematic experience.
When I went to that, because that felt like, I need you to get away from all the bad things you're doing. So I'm going to send you away to camp. You better make some friends. turn your life around. And it just didn't work out. In fact,
it went the opposite.
Maybe I was the problem. I don't know. Maybe that wasn't the time.
I don't know. What was that saying from Justified?
Yeah. You know. So what's your preference if you're watching these movies? A place of innocent joy where innocence is lost, or the horror movie setup? Which one do you prefer?
Well, I mean, really, I like to lose the innocence. I like them to not be innocent, and I don't mind if they get killed. So horror movies are the way for me.
I don't have a specific preference either way. Although I can say the ones that I tend to lean to the most are the ones where friendships are a lot of fun. So I guess I can say that, like, not the innocence lost, not the innocent joy, but just like more about relationships and how those relationships kind of work together.
Yeah, I like those movies. Indian Summer. I mean, those kinds of relationship movies. I like them quite a bit. But at the end of the day, I love the setup of a camp for horror movies, man. I just love it because it has everything I love about a horror movie. You can't escape. You have to find a way to survive. You don't know where the threat is coming from because, I mean, you can't see. There's no light. You know, at night, you just can't see.
Could be the water, could be the trees,
water,
could be your
yeah,
closet.
Exactly. You can't see. And if the power's out, you're screwed. Which there's generally no power at a real summer camp. So I love that. It's like my favorite scenario for a horror movie. I love Friday the 13th because all those people died. So Yeah, I'm going to go with the horror movie too. All right, what are your favorites? John, you like the relationships. What are your favorites?
The ones that come off the top of my head, like Meatballs was the first one I ever watched, and I love Bill Murray's character in that, and just the relationship he developed with the kid in there, as far as the whole running thing is concerned. I just love watching that movie, and again, it's another one of those things where I liked the fantasy of people going someplace and becoming friends, and those friendships always seeming to stay lifelong. So Meatballs is the first one I can think of.
Well, if we want to talk about any type of joy, I like The Parent Trap.
Aw, the Lindsay Lohan one
That's
or the
so
original?
Cute.
I don't think I've ever actually seen the original, but I have seen the Lindsay Lohan one, and I liked it a lot. It was adorable.
That's a sweet movie.
I guess technically there's two of them, but it's really the same person. I appreciate like the perspective of
Spoiler.
I thought she had a twin that just did not succeed.
I appreciate the perspective of a child trying to get their parents back together. And I've been in that boat. So I've been like, hey, I don't know you, lady. Get out of here. You don't get to be with my dad. Or, hey, dude, get out of here. You don't get to be with my mom. And wanting them to just reunite and doing whatever you can to sabotage in a really horrible way. So,
Wow, you're a monster.
I did one time thought that there was someone staying with me and one of my parents. And I replaced the shampoo with shaving cream. So
That's awesome.
that was my sabotage. I didn't go much further than that, but still, I could relate. Parent Trap probably gave me that idea.
I knew somebody who put what was it? Hair removal or something in somebody's shampoo.
There.
Now that's just mean.
I wasn't there for some reason. I just heard about the story, but I saw the guy after that, and it was definitely accurate.
Jeez.
So horrible. It's splotchy and stuff, but it's like
He must suck as a person.
Yeah. Little Darlings is one that I really love. Tatum O'Neal and Christy McNichol, they're kind of like fighting to lose their virginity at camp or whatever. It was a very sweet movie. So in terms of the relationship ones, that one really stood out to me. I just thought it was a very sweet movie to watch. And I used to have a huge crush on Christy McNichol as a kid. Oh, anything else you got?
Wet Hot American Summer and the sequel series that followed it. It's one of those things that finds a good way to encapsulate all the things about summer camp movies and turn it into a joke, which is it takes the horror movie aspect, it takes the friendships, it takes the losing your virginity bit, and it plays off of all those stereotypes at the exact same time, and and they're just hysterical. And of course, you get to see Christopher Meloni doing amazing Christopher Meloni things.
And don't they play like their younger selves, but as they're still their older people?
It's the same exact people from the movie, and it's all the stuff leading up to what happens in the movie. So it's basically a prequel series.
But they're way older.
Right.
That's hysterical.
It's ridiculous, but it's also great.
The only other one that I could think of, aside from Friday the 13th, which we've definitely talked about, is The Final Girls.
Love that movie.
It's a great movie.
So good. If you haven't caught it, you should. Still a horror movie, but, it's still good.
It's more like a satire on horror movies, especially the summer camp series. Like, because the whole time, you're not exactly worried about these characters. Some stuff happens to them, but it's more about the comedy than it is anything else. Like, there's a lot of heart to it and a lot of comedy to it. And
it's fun. It's really fun.
And it's just fun, yeah.
Yeah, and the best horror movies are fun. I know when people, I can't believe you enjoy watching people get murdered. I can't either. It's shameful, but I do so much. It's delightful. And then
don't hate me because you ain't me.
Yeah, the movie really appreciates that. I'll throw in you mentioned Friday the 13th, The Final Girls, Sleepaway Camp. Not a good movie. Really not a good movie at all. Great ending. Fuck just happened.
Scott Clark has been trying to get, former host of The Hollywood Outsider, has been trying to get everyone to watch that film with him, and I have still not seen it.
I would recommend it. That is a movie, and I will tell you this. Like, I was trying to sell it so you guys understand. It is not a good movie. So if you start watching it by yourself, don't be mad at me, because it's not good. But it is like The Room. You could actually make fun of it a lot. But if you're with a group of people, if you're with 3 or more people, preferably at least one person that hasn't seen it. By the end of the film, you will have a wonderful time. Just don't Google it. Don't ruin the experience. Make yourself not do it. Don't know what it is going into it. And then watch it with friends because it is a blast.
I'm going to have to set this up.
It's never going to be better than Friday the 13th movies because I love almost all those movies. The only time those movies really suck is when they leave the camp. Space, Manhattan, take me back to the camp. That's where I want to be.
Well, yeah, whenever they go right back. One that I love so much and it's a lot of fun is Fired Up. Did you ever see that one?
Is that the cheerleader camp one?
That is the cheerleader
Yes, that's
camp
really
one.
funny. That is funny.
Panthers out.
That's pretty funny.
I love that movie. I love the two lead characters in that movie, and it's just a stupid movie about two guys running around trying to get laid at a cheerleader camp instead of going to football camp for a year. And they discover that they happen to really like being cheerleaders and they like being around those people, and I wouldn't really blame them myself. So at the same time, just so much fun to watch that movie.
We've got some listener recommendations of summer camp movies, so let's get through though. I'll mention mine real quick. Vicky Calcaro mentioned Poison Ivy. It was an 80s movie starring Michael J. Fox.
I remember it.
Did you watch that?
I watched it. I don't remember a lot of the details because I was probably 13 or 14 when I saw it, but I do remember it's not only Michael J. Fox, but it's the girl who played Jo on Facts of Life, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if you're going to bring it up, you should probably know before you bring it up, but whatever.
Well, I'm just shooting from the hip here, man. Having a conversation with you.
See, this is why he likes Patreon, because he can just do a quick goog.
Give it a bing.
Quick bing. Well,
give it a goog.
My listener comment was Angela Lee Wallach. She said, I spent every summer from 5 until 23 as a camper and then camp counselor. Ha, John. She said, I really like Camp Nowhere because I love the idea of kids running their own camp. Also, I had a huge crush on Jonathan Jackson, but I highly recommend the movie Camp. It's about music theater kids, and it's one of my faves. Also, it's Anna Kendrick's first film, and she's fabulous.
Yeah, she's fine.
Maybe going to camp is a Midwestern thing.
It definitely is, because we don't have much to do here. So you gotta do something. It's Nancy McKeon, by the way.
Florida's disgusting. Who would go to a camp outside in the
camp.
summer?
Come to Joe Exotic's Gator Camp.
Jennifer Miller says SpaceCamp. I grew. See, this is why you come to Florida for camp. I grew up wanted to be an astronaut, and after the movie, I desperately wanted to go to SpaceCamp. I never went, but my son did, and while he wasn't accidentally sent into space while he was there, he had a blast. This was a movie that I watched so much, and I thought it was so awesome. And the idea of going to space or accidentally being shot into space was cool. That, again, my brain goes, this is not real. Camp is not real. You'll never go. And then when I was like graduating high school, they were like, hey, so-and-so went to space camp. And I went, what? Who actually goes to camp?
It's a real thing, man. Real thing. Very cool, too. It is a pretty decent movie. I didn't love it, but I love the idea behind it. A top 5, listener, we took a poll. So here are the top 5 summer camp movies. Number 5, Wet Hot American Summer. I had no idea it was that popular. Number 4, Friday the 13th. I had no idea it was that low on the list because it should be number 1.
Seriously.
Number 3, Addams Family Values. All right. Didn't even think about that one, but that's true. That is a summer camp movie. Number 2, or camp, I think so, yeah. Number 2, Parent Trap.
Huh.
There you go. Of course, I didn't specify which one. And Meatballs is number 1. No big surprise there. Any recent film or TV recommendations we haven't previously talked about, guys? Amanda, you got anything?
No, you weren't here, but you did listen to the Patreon episode. I got into Grey's Anatomy, or maybe that was on the regular episode. I don't know, but I'm back on it, and I'm sad about it, but I'm happy about it.
It was a Patreon episode.
Yeah.
Well, there's a spoiler. I talked about Grey's Anatomy.
All right. John, what about you?
This weekend, Transformers: The War for Cybertron I dropped also, and I watched it, and it's good. However, there's a character there that resembles too much of a character in real life, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. And if you watch too much of the news and what's going on in the news, you go, I can't do this anymore. But the rest of it is pretty great. The animation, the story, a lot of it's pretty strong. Just not Mega Trump. So.
I got two things. One, I mean, you mentioned it on Patreon, but for people that didn't hear that, The Rental, Dave Franco's directorial debut, Dan Stevens and Allison Brie, and two married couples go to a cabin, or an Airbnb, and just crazy stuff starts happening. It's one of the better thrillers I've seen in a long time. So I would definitely recommend that. It's on video on demand right now. And you guys, Amanda, you liked it.
Oh, yeah. I gave it an 8 out of 10.
Really fun. Really fun. The other one was a really fun surprise that has been recommended to me by two people. So therefore I checked it out. Brian Williams and Scott Calgaro. So shout out to you guys. Bushwick on Netflix stars Dave Bautista and Brittany Snow. I had heard about this when they recommended it, but I'll be honest. I mean, you guys know this. We get 1,000 recommendations. It's really hard to see everything. And this just didn't hit high on my priority list. It really just didn't. And so finally, all right, I'm going to watch this thing. Man, it's really good. It is really good. It's basically like 5 very long takes. So it almost seems like the camera never really cuts for the vast majority. Dave Bautista is this Marine who helps Brittany Snow after chaos erupts. You know, it's basically like, I don't know, 1917 Seattle. You know, it's just like, it's all these people have taken over the city, and it's these two trying to survive. And it's like seen as almost an uncut issue, an uncut take. And it's beautifully done, man. Dave Bautista does a great job. Brittany Snow does a very good job. And just watching them zip around the city and try to survive through this is really, really interesting and surprising and tense and engaging. And it's on Netflix. And I was very pleasantly surprised with Bushwick. So check it out. Okay, I want to also a special thanks to Rachel Schreiber. She hooked Amanda and I both up with some wonderful theater things.
Holla!
What? And I just want to say thank you. That was very, very cool of you. She knows that we love these things, and that's all I'm going to say about it because I don't want to rant her out. But she did us I really appreciate it. We both.
She's amazing.
All right, so share your thoughts on this episode or anything else in our Facebook group. We're on Facebook at The Hollywood Outsider. Find the group, join. Twitter at Buy Popcorn. Our site is thehollywoodoutsiders.com. Our email is feedback at thehollywoodoutsiders.com. Please rate and subscribe us on your preferred podcast app. It only takes you a minute. Join Patreon if you want some bonus content. That'd be great too. You can find John's artwork on Insta and Twitter at rjohndraws, Amanda on Veronica's Marshmallows and Smirk and at Sink Into This on Twitter, and me, The Blacklist Exposed, and Presenting Hitchcock, which we just dropped our Psycho episode. You can also find that at thehollywoodoutsiders.com or Presenting Hitchcock on whatever podcast app you use. It was a really good episode. We talked about a lot of stuff. I highly recommend that. Okay. Whew. The HO Teachable Minute. We're going to end the show. If you've never heard this before, because you've never made it this far, here's what I got.
And it's John's turn.
No, it's my turn.
I wanted to psych him out, Aaron.
Sorry. I guess I'm an asshole.
Ah!
Thank God you're there. All right. So I've been watching a ton of Prison Break. That's been a lot of my background noise. Is Prison Break. You remember that show? Michael Scofield, Lincoln Burrows.
Love that show.
Okay. Well, this is perfect background noise. I don't have to pay attention to it. I've seen it so many times. I know what's happening, but I just like to have it on. I've also recently watched a lot of Breakout Kings, which is kind of connected to Prison Break. Here's what I learned. In America, the prisons that we have are not very secure. That's it. I think they really need to check the toilets a little bit more. Maybe keep an eye on what people are doing while they're working PI. Maybe pay a little bit more attention to what they're talking about when you should be paying attention to them. And I'm just very disappointed because apparently the prison system is easy as hell to get out of. That's what I learned. So if you get arrested for anything, don't worry. Be out in a week. Apparently it's not, all you gotta do is get a tattoo. Done.
Yeah, maybe inspect those tattoos a little bit better.
I mean, even when they escape and they get caught, they still escape that. So it's just like, it doesn't seem very hard to escape. Really, you just need to put a little energy into it. You know what I mean? Put some stank on it.
You can do anything you want to.
Apparently, and the first season's amazing because it's basically like 22 episodes, and each episode, another piece of that plan comes together, and I'm like, that is a very detailed plan.
Yeah.
to come together, because there's guys busting out that just like, oh, there's a hole in the gate, and that's how they got out. Not Michael Scofield. No, he's got this whole master plan, which is brilliant, but also ridiculous. And that's why I love the show, probably.
And it requires way too many people to get out. That no way that would ever work in real life.
Because the plan going in, like he's got it all tattooed on him. He's like, I got this plan. Well, we didn't know you'd need 12 people to frickin' pull it off, because how you going to manage that? And I don't want to spoil anything, but they do.
Right.
A couple of times.
Except for the fat kid who can't make it across the wire.
Oh, that's so sad.
Don't be mean.
Just a few more push-ups. He could have got out of there. All right. Well, the guys, we're done. Remember, we're going to take a little breather, but there's still episodes, so I don't even know if it'll really feel like a breather. But thank you guys for listening. Thanks for all the support. We'll definitely be back soon. We can't wait for theaters to open here in the States, and Tenet's going to open around the world, so we will get a review of that, even if it's not us. We do have some connections with people overseas, so we'll get you a review of Tenet one way or the other. But without further ado, remember, the next time you head to a theater or watched Mulan on your beautiful TV that rivals one, wink, wink, nod, nod, buy popcorn.
Bye.
Was that too snarky? Felt too snarky.
No, it's just the truth.
No one's gonna notice it.
Yeah, it's just who you are.
Wow, that was unnecessary.